as you know, this whole flood thing has been an absolute disaster.
Yes.
Okay. But there's a lot we can do to explain why it's been a disaster.
Yeah.
And one of them is the fact that China is the land of shortcuts and facades. As we can see here. This is a clip we've shown before.
Yeah.
We'd like everybody to pay attention for those of you who haven't seen it, okay? What we have here is I believe, perhaps a security guard or somebody attached to real estate who's at the site of a very big new real estate project. Okay, these things pop up everywhere around China.
Yeah.
Let's see what he finds. What's he showing us here? There's a drainage grate, and of course underneath it is nothing but ground. And that's because it's fake. Okay, it's just another one of those things. And we see this with a lot of things in China where, you're supposed to have drainage up to spec, or you're supposed to have fire hydrants up to spec, which we've shown as well.
Yeah.
Or you're supposed to have like the fire hoses in the building all up to spec, but they're just there in appearance only.
Yeah.
They're not connected to anything.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is a case of that. The drain doesn't go anywhere. There is no drainage. There are no underground drains. It's not the only example, though. Here's clearly another one where there's just concrete underneath. And if you hear the people complaining, they're complaining that all of them in the area are like that, not just that one. And see, here's another one where it's just fake underneath. So it's no wonder that we have these big issues. Whenever there's any kind of a natural disaster in China, you have these massive issues because of all the shortcuts that have been taken. Shortcuts which end up resulting in the loss of life.
Yeah.
And that's why when you see these big mega projects in China, you end up being impressed and saying like, wow, look at all these huge mega projects. And when they do the Belt and Road stuff, they're building something in Africa. You're like, wow, look at this. But it's all made to look impressive. But if they can't even get the very basics, like the drainage and the structure, like the actual, when they dig down and they see the pile length and stuff in the structures, they're all wrong. They're all just charbador, so to speak. And it's a massive issue.
Yeah. I think, you're phrasing it very politely by saying if they can't get that right, this is done deliberately.
True.
Nobody's sitting there going, I know, I've heard of a drain, but I just don't know how to make one. They're being lazy. They're cutting corners. They're saving labor costs. They're saving concrete costs. That's why we walk through these ghost towns. We'd walk around and see the concrete being mixed with sawdust and styrofoam and things like this. There's things that they do to save on costs.
Correct.
And it does boil down to corruption.
Yeah, it's absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, that's in regards to the flood, because people were wondering, how can the drainage in a modern city be so bad, right? Because we're going to be talking about a city that China, it's so modern, in fact, that China expects it not to really come to fruition until 2035.
Yes, this is a big part of the show, you'll see.
Should have some good drainage.
I'd say so.
Right.
Anyway, we're not going to get too much into the aftermath of the flooding. You've got a video coming out probably tomorrow
yeah.
where you go in depth about what's actually happened after the flooding in China, and some of it's scary.
It's way, way bigger and deeper and more sinister than I thought.
Yeah.
So I had to make a video. I actually kiboshed another topic I was working on just because of how important it was. Yeah. I ended up getting some info. So watch out for that on Lao 86 tomorrow if you want to know the truth of what happened after the flood. I'm not talking about the cleanup efforts. I'm talking about the really bad stuff.
The bad stuff, yeah. But what we'd show you is some of the knee-jerk reaction that the Chinese government had to the flooding. Okay.
Yeah.
So as we all know, when a big disaster like this hits, it's not the Chinese government's priority to actually go and save people. It's their priority to put on a dancing show to show everybody, look how great we are and look how we're saving
We took care
people.
of it. Yeah.
And what you can see behind us is a great example of this. Why do they need to create this sort of fake human chain of soldiers if they could have just driven that truck closer to where they all are?
This is what they do.
They always do that.
They did that on the COVID thing. They had like 500 people lined up right next to each other to pass one thing.
Yeah, and they could have just reversed the truck.
It was a road.
Yeah.
The truck could have literally just backed up 100
and then you wouldn't have needed anyone, one person to offload it. But yeah, that's what they do. And we're seeing a lot of this just put on show for the camera stuff. Like for instance, this is just appalling, okay? In any stretch of the imagination, this scene should not exist. Yeah. So what are we looking at here?
This is rescue workers passing their parcels as usual, or passing their tools to help out.
Could be sandbags.
Right, whatever. but they have a guy spraying a hose to make it look like it's torrential downpour because this is for state media in China. It's see the communist flag with the hammer and sickle.
let's actually go back there. You can see the cameraman, okay, over there. You see the cameraman. He's the one standing all the way over there. You know, the guy in the black with the white hat. Yeah. So he's filming them. They're doing these heroic acts of, you know, like, oh, we're fighting the elements to, you know, help the flood victims and stuff and stop the floods.
I don't want to give too much away, but I got a report, and it's so messed up. But they're actively stopping relief efforts. So there were a bunch of people. You know, China's not a charitable country. In fact, it's the least charitable country in the world. Yeah. But there are good people.
Of course, there are good people in China.
So you want people there are people that want to help out. There were people that were trying to join the relief efforts to do this kind of stuff in real life, not this fake facade.
Yeah, like the NGOs.
Right. And they were getting stopped and told by the government that they had to make way for these propaganda efforts, and they had to sign up, and then most people got their applications canceled because they wanted this instead.
They had to be approved before they could go in and help.
Yeah.
So an NGO turns up with all of their rescue equipment, and they're ready to go in and rescue, and they're like, no, you're not allowed to. You have to wait until you get official permission.
Yeah.
And this is what they're doing. By the way, this happened while the floods were still going on. They filmed this. Okay, because last week we did that breaking news to show you guys what was happening, and then this footage was filmed the next day. That's why we didn't include it last week. So it shows you they pounce immediately on the propaganda, and here we see it again. Here's a local villager walks up to say, like, what the hell's going on here? I mean, look at the guy filming, the tan jacket. See, there's no flood there. This is a very not affected area. What are they doing?
They're just, it's a pre-manufactured pile of dirt to make them look like they're, saving the flood victims.
Yeah. So you got like an excavator in the back there that obviously piled this dirt up so that they can sit there.
Because they want to curate the image.
Yeah. So they can pick at this dirt with their shovel.
Yeah.
Okay. See?
This had huge. I don't want to keep showing my video tomorrow, but this had huge implications. This is bad.
Yeah. They're just like half-assed. They've got the flags up. That's the important thing.
I mean, you just can't. Well, you can't make it up. They're making it
They're
up.
making it up. Look. Oh, look. You see how he's like, let's get that flag waving. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, look, the flag's looking a little limp. So I think the most important thing for me to do is let's get that flag waving for the camera.
Let's get the flag while they make the sandbag.
See the guy there in the background is like filming it. So they're like, let's get the flag up there and make sure, it looks like we're really doing a good job here.
Do it again. Make the sandbag again. That will probably not even end up in.
Dude, if you look at what they're doing, they're not actually doing. They've created a tiny little line of sandbags. It's probably like, I don't know, 10 meters long or something. And that's all they need for the footage. Yeah. They're like, yay, let's get this this propaganda done. See, look, they're like, put that flag there. Now, look, let's reposition the flag. Yeah.
The life vest.
Yeah. Look, there's no.
Why are they wearing life vests?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, why are they? Here's another clip where the villagers are actually busy, like, there are people actually doing their work.
Yeah.
And now they're like kind of bewildered. Why is the PLA running up and down here? Look at these guys' faces. They're like, what the hell's even going on?
They're actually doing relief efforts.
Yeah. And again, let's film ourselves delivering goods as volunteers. Again, it's all about the facade. It's all about this dog and pony show.
It is.
You know what I mean?
Dog-faced pony soldiers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. Paneri Boy, of course.
Paneri Boy.
Oh, the fair rabbit child, Piano Boy. Crocodile. Okay. New Bailunera, New Bunren, YG, New Bailun, New Bailun Loop.
New Bailun Loop. You buy one pair, you get 3 pairs for free.
So, it can't be very good.
You mean Aglo device?
It gloves.
Says, this is the blessing from gods.
This is the blessing from gods.
You cannot get alcohol at Taco Bell. People are getting blown away by Taco Bell being on a plate.
Changing a bunch of keys in this thing and go, you know what I mean?
When I close my eyes, I can almost see it.